Good morning and welcome. We are delighted that you have decided to join us today for our Sunday morning celebration service right here at Unity of Citrus County. We invite you to get settled in. Our service is about to begin in just a few moments. It is our sincere prayer that the music, the meditation, and the message will uplift you and inspire you to become the light of the world that you have come here to be. We invite you to come and visit us in person. We would love to meet you. And we invite you to also visit our website at www.unityofcitrus.org. Have a blessed day.
good to see you all. So good to see you all. You know, that song is like a prayer, isn't it? God, send his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shiny sea. That is the prayer of our heart for our beautiful nation. So happy Independence Day. You could have been barbecuing today, and hopefully you are later, but I'm so glad that you are here today. And I see a stream of red, white, and blue all over the room, and it's so lovely to see that. So welcome. If you're visiting here for the very first time, would you just let us know by raising your hand? I promise I won't do anything weird. Welcome. Welcome. I am so very glad that you're here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Unity of Citrus is such a special place. It really, truly is. We're one of a kind in the county because we're not a religion. We don't have any doctrines and we don't have any dogmas. And our mission here is to create a loving and healing and accepting community through prayer and education and service. So I'm really glad you're here, and it's my prayer to you that this service will be a real blessing for you on this Sunday morning. So we have a lot to do today and a lot to cover, and so I want to just say a few things real quickly before we open up in prayer, and that is, and hold on because I need my glasses so I can see better. Get the daily word here. I want to thank all of you that participated in the Jubilee Sunday, celebrating us. Can you raise your hand if you were there? Wow, look at this. And so many more. We have gotten some really lovely feedback from that event. And we will be in perhaps less than a month be able to share that with you. So we're working on it. We're doing gathering all the data. Annie and Arbeth are putting it together for us, and then we'll share it with the board, and at some point we'll be able to share it with you as well. So I'm excited about all the things that I'm hearing and all the enthusiasm that's here. So thank you, thank you. I'm not the only one that is, feeling all enthusiastic this morning. So anyway, before I continue on, I want us to be able to set the intention for today by getting real centered, real quiet, real agreeing to be here in this moment. As we enter these moments together, we agree to let go of anything that's needing to be done or was done or whatever. Just let it go for now and allow yourself to bring your awareness to this now moment, this beautiful moment where we celebrate our nation's independence this day, this beautiful day in this beautiful place that is filled with love. So we agree to do that together, to be here now. And then I invite you to take a deep breath and release that. And allow yourself to feel the gratitude of being alive, of knowing that your life is beautifully blessed. Where you are, God is. And so we acknowledge that this morning. We acknowledge the presence of love that is always with us, that desires to express His love through us, that is the very essence of our being and of all that is. We acknowledge that presence. And we allow ourselves to be in a place of awe and wonder at the mystery of life, at all the things that show up in just a perfect order. Today, as we acknowledge our spiritual powers, we see that we have the power of understanding, to be able to perceive and conceive and know. And we are grateful for this spiritual power that helps us to see the light of a greater truth that goes beyond anything in this realm. And we are grateful. So we join with one heart and one mind in this place allowing whatever will flow to flow. Whatever will be. For we are always held in love and all is well. Thank you, God. And so it is. You may open your eyes and take a deep breath and look around the room. Oh, welcome back, Bridget. It's so good to see you. So good to see you. Welcome back. Well, let us now say our affirmation of oneness. There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere present, right here, right now, God. And as we begin to prepare our hearts for our time of meditation, let me read to you today's daily word. It's just so beautiful. The affirmation for today is free. Free. We are free. We are unlimited in our true nature. And it says, living from my Christ nature sets me free. As a spiritual being, I am always free. I remember this at those moments that I feel at the mercy of an unpredictable world. You relate, huh? And while I may not be able to control what happens around me, I can take comfort knowing that I don't need to. I am free to choose my response, but even more, I am free to meet life from my divinity, the breath of my spiritual power. In prayer, I claim divine ideas. I use my gift of imagination to envision the life I wish to live and the gift of will to make choices to bring it about. I speak affirmations to raise my consciousness and to help create conditions for my highest and best outcome to manifest. I find precious freedom, realizing that life doesn't happen to me. Life happens through me. And from the book of John, chapter 8, verse 36, it says, so if the Son makes you free, then you are free indeed. Namaste.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day, and I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
Practicing presence. I want to welcome you to this practice of peace, inner stillness, calm, and presence. You know, how we create presence is built into, the everyday, moment to moment, creating momentum of being and not doing. And when we are doing, we are aware of the being that is necessary to be authentically doing what it is that we need to do on this earth. It begins by being present in the moment, present to our feelings, present to our thoughts and to our words, and present to our inner dialogue. And I want to invite you to practice presence with me right here this morning. So closing our eyes or doing what is comfortable for you in this moment, and only if it feels safe to you. Sit comfortable in your seat, allowing your body and mind to find comfort and stillness and rest in this moment in time. Softening your eyebrows, unclenching your jaw, and allowing your shoulders to just relax and melt away from your ears. Taking a moment here to notice where else you might be holding on to any tension or stress or tightness in your body. I want you to take a moment to scan your body from head to toe, and using your breath to soften your needs, your love, your presence. Soften every bone. Soften every fiber and every cell, every muscle, every tissue in your body, until softness becomes you, and you are soft and here and now. Notice your breath and how you are breathing. And on the inhale, receiving the breath in through your nose, down into your throat, and into your lungs, expanding your belly. And on the out breath, letting it all go through your mouth. Repeating and receiving this breath each time, each breath, drawing us closer to ourselves, Breathing in, I am here. Breathing out, I have arrived. Breathing in, I am here. Breathing out, I have arrived. Present in this moment, knowing nothing else matters right now, except for you, your breath, and your breathing. Breathing as if the only thing you have to do today is to breathe in and to breathe out. Treating every breath as if it were sacred. Breathing with intention. Breathing with purpose. The purpose of coming back home to yourself. So receive that breath in through the nose and letting it go through the mouth as you exhale. Continuing to breathe and continuing to be. You are in this moment right now, this moment in time. You know, and if your mind does wander, just wander just a little bit, it's okay. Just bring it back to the present moment. Notice your heart beating, the rising and falling of your chest. Noticing, any other sensations that are present in your body right now. What do your arms feel like? What do your hands feel like? What does it feel like to be breathing into your stomach? What does your left leg feel like? What does your right leg feel like? What do you feel like? As the breath moves in and out of your body, your breath, your body responding to the breath, the energy, the force within you. How does it feel to be the creator of your own peace? In stillness, you are more powerful than you think. And all it takes is presence. And together, taking deep breaths in and through the nose and letting it all go through the mouth. As this practice comes to an end, becoming present, back into your bodies, back to your breath, and back into our surroundings here. Notice any sounds or sensations that are present here. Begin inviting movement back into your toes or your hands, and whenever it feels right for you, on your own time, slowly and gently opening your eyes and thanking yourself for being in practice. The practice of presence. Namaste, my friends, as we return to this place. Thank you.
Gary, that was so beautiful. Practicing presence. And how powerful are we that when we do that, we can return to peace. I love that. So, today, such a special day in the history of our nation, because did you know that we are actually acknowledging the birth of a nation? It happened 247 years ago. That's quite a while. But yet we're still a baby nation compared to other nations. So today marks the 247th year of the birth of our nation. On July 4th, 1776, that date is very pivotal because in the history of our nation, because the Second Continental Congress unanimously, oh boy, adopted the Declaration of Independence. And it was the very first formal written statement asserting our rights to be free and to form our own government. No longer attached to Great Britain, we were our own nation now. And there's a statement in that declaration that is very well known, one that is, we know it very well. It said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That, my friends, was a very noble vision that our forefathers had. And I really believe with all my heart that it was divinely guided. They were divinely guided in what they wrote in that Declaration of Independence. Ernest Holmes, who is a New Thought writer and teacher and leader, he says this about freedom. The divine plan is one of freedom. The inherent nature of man is ever seeking to express himself in terms of freedom, because freedom is the birthright of every living soul. So no matter where you come from, no matter where you came from, who you are, there is this desire, this deep urge, longing to be free. Isn't that correct? We want to be free. Freedom is really basically one of the most basic conditions that we need in order to experience a sense of well-being and happiness. We keep searching for it, though. We keep searching for this freedom somewhere out there, believing that it lies somewhere ahead of us, and that once we have done this or achieved that we will be free. But as you know, as you will very know, that as soon as one obstacle is out of the way, and freedom seems to be like really close, yes, we're going in that direction, another obstacle comes along to delay it once more. So the freedom that is our birthright, the birthright of every living soul, is not dependent, it cannot depend on external conditions. That is not what the freedom that is inherent in each of us, that is the right of every soul. It cannot depend on the changes of this realm. Everything here will change. Rather, our dependency on this freedom needs to be on the indwelling Spirit of God, or if you prefer, the kingdom of God, which Jesus said was within. The kingdom of God, that realm of infinite power and infinite wisdom and undepletable substance in which we move and we breathe and we have our being. That's where our dependence needs to be on if we are going to truly be free. It doesn't change. It's eternally the same. You can depend on the kingdom of God. So it follows that if your dependency is on the kingdom of God, then there is nothing that's going to prevent you from being free. Nothing. And so, as an example, take a look at those Tibetan refugee prisoners that were held in a jail by the Chinese for many years. Their conditions were atrocious, absolutely atrocious. None of us would want to even be there. Can't imagine it, for years to be under those conditions. And yet they emerged from their captivity peaceful and tranquil. Perhaps they were practicing presence this whole time. They were practicing presence. And they realized that their condition could not take away their freedom, because their freedom was not dependent on something out there, but on something within. Something within. So in our lifetime, as we come onto this planet as spiritual beings having a human experience, we hear a lot of things that color the way we see the world. Marianne Williamson says that we're told how to see the world and what to say about the world and where to take the world in subtle and insidious ways that often run counter to our own intuitive knowing in our heart. We know in our heart which way to go. But we're told so many things. But in this, and she says, and in this late and crucial hour, the world is waking up to what it has lost and what must be reclaimed. And the reclamation will not come about in broad strokes, but rather in one epiphany, one aha moment, one moment of personal liberation in our lives, one at a time. As we remember the truth of who we are. So freedom becomes then like an inside job that will lead us to make the right choices and be guided by the Spirit and the decisions that need to be made in the outside. Freedom in the inside gives us the peace that we need. So we're invited to take this inward journey, to do the work that needs to be done to break free of anything that is limiting us. Life is consciousness. So whatever you're holding in consciousness will inform your choices and how you move forward. And so what is keeping you from feeling free and unlimited, which is your divine nature? And this inward journey, because you'll say, well, the circumstances that are happening out here, that's keeping me it. Well, guess what? That will change. And when it changes, what's keeping you from feeling free? Everything here will change. So the inward journey is a journey of transformation, one in which you get the opportunity to work on your consciousness, to have it, like Paul said, be transformed and renewed by your transformation of your mind. So your mind can then become like a garden where the seeds of spiritual truth will flourish, and peace will be your natural state of being. You will not be disturbed by this outer realm. You'll move through it grounded in peace, knowing that your dependence is on the kingdom of God. And, the interesting part is I would like to help you, but no one can take that journey for you. That's the one journey that you must take on your own. And I promise you that there will be times when it'll be very bumpy bumpy and rough, and you wish you had never even started. Which it was like that when you were walking the Camino. Yeah. It can be bumpy and rough, and things will surface, but it is absolutely worth taking the journey within. Not only because it would help liberate you, and you'll gain liberation for yourself, but also for the way that your liberation will contribute to the liberation of the collective whole. So each time we find our truth and live from our truth and live from our principles and find our peace and know that we are truly free indeed and live from that knowing, we help the collective consciousness. Hafiz, whom I really love, he's a Sufi mystic, he said, "We have come into this exquisite world to experience ever more deeply our divine courage, our freedom and light." And it's an exquisite world. If you could see it from the eyes of spirit, you will not see it as others do. You will see it as Sufi sees it, as Hafiz sees it. So unity teaches us that we are co-creators with God, right? It says that we do that with our thinking and with our feelings. We create the experience of our reality. We could both be having the same experience, witnessing the same event and having a different experience about it. Because our thinking and our feeling create the experience of our reality. So your inward journey helps you become aware of what it is that you're holding in your subconscious mind. That is that mind that is the storehouse of every little tiny detail of your life. Everything. It's like a snap the picture and it just keeps playing over and over, over and over in your mind. And if you're holding things in your mind that have not been resolved, then you're still walking the journey towards your freedom. And you're being given an opportunity to look at those things. That storehouse constantly playing the action movie of our lives, those things in our subconscious are informing how we make the choices, how we respond to the world. And we're not even aware because it's playing back there. So it behooves us to say, I want to know what's keeping me from feeling free. What is keeping me from living the life that I want to live? What is holding my mind that makes me feel insecure and worried and fearful? What is that? And so what happens is that because it influences your conditions, your choices, what's really hiding in that back of the mind are some things called the shadow. How many of you heard that term? Yeah, the shadow. And I don't know about you, but I am seeing the shadow is all those things, those parts of ourselves that we don't want anyone to see. We don't want them to see, so we repress them. We don't want anybody to see, so we hide them in the shadow. And so we walk around, there's a song, Masquerade. I don't remember the words now, but we're masqueraders. We're not showing the world the true face because we are keeping repressed all those things that we feel are not accepted or welcomed or loved by others, so we repress them. That's the shadow. But the shadow is repressed, but you're still going to act from that you have not yet brought to the light. So I don't know about you, but I look at our beautiful earth, and I'm seeing a lot of shadows surfacing big time. Do you? Lots of shadows. And we don't want anybody to see that we are, full of rage or greedy or selfish or full of hatred or full of envy. And I'm not saying that you are, but there are people who are carrying that pain of a past that caused that, and they're hiding it. And so that informs how they go forward, how they respond to the world. And they can't feel that. Everyone has a shadow. If your mom ever told you, don't cry, you're a boy. Boys don't cry, and you were feeling pretty emotional that time, you felt shame because you were told not to cry. So there are little incidents in our lifetime that show up that we repress. So everyone has the shadow. And what happens is that as we take this journey and we get closer to the light, we get closer to the light of truth, the more of our shadow we see. It wants to come out to the light. It wants to be seen. It wants to be accepted. It wants to be healed. What I'm noticing is that not only are our personal shadows showing up, the collective shadows are showing up. They're surfacing too. And the collective shadow is where people, they come together, they unite their shadows, all that they have repressed, in groups or as a society, and the outcome is not good. It's never good. Think about the Holocaust. That's a clear example of how the collective shadow would work if it's not healed. A whole group of people united their hatred of one race, and the result was absolutely tragic. So our personal shadows and our collective shadows are surfacing at a very accelerated rate. Something is shifting. There's a movement. There's something is shifting. The planet wants to birth something new. The Spirit of God is moving, and there is something new that wants to emerge. And before it does, we need to do the work of healing our shadows. It's accelerating and accelerating because we are arriving at a time of major transformation. How many of you believe that? With all my heart, I believe that. With all my heart. And this time of shadow arising is such an accelerated rate, is causing panic and it's causing confusion. And all over the world, people are pointing fingers and blaming others, perceiving them as enemies. Not a pretty picture. Not a pretty picture for the world, and not a pretty picture for our beloved nation, whose vision was to create something beautiful, something that was guided by Spirit. But for me, I don't know about you, for me, despite all this stuff that's going on, I have a little bubbling river of hope running through me. I see hope. I see hope arising because many people are bringing their shadows to the light, and they are healing them, and they're properly integrating them so that they can be whole. The shadow is not bad. We're being called at this time of major change to really look at that. Look at the shadow and do the loving, compassionate work that we do to be able to allow it to come out into the light and be healed. And it won't be easy. Nope. Nobody really wants to see their shadow. But the gift of doing the shadow work is that you emerge accepting every little part of yourself. You're not rejecting anything about yourself. You're accepting everything about yourself so that you can live and you can thrive more with clarity, more clarity and more authenticity. We can show up as we are. That's what we try to do here in this community, to create a loving and safe and accepting community so you can feel free to show up as you are and not repress. The Zen master describes this seeing ourselves as we are. So beautiful. He says, it's as seeing the face we had before we were born. That's what the work does for us. Helps us to see the face we had before we were born. And this part This is what is free. This is what is unlimited. The true self can never die, can never be bound to chains. But in our consciousness, we believe it to be so. So one thing, and I want to say because I want to emphasize it, the shadow is not flawed. It's not bad. It's not a mistake. They're just part of us that crave to be understood, to be explored with curiosity. So doing the shadow work, to do this kind of shadow work, you must approach it with loving compassion, because it's a work of the heart. Have a willingness to explore with curiosity and not judge and not condemn yourself for the human emotions that sometimes arise, and not, you label them. You say, oh, it's bad. I don't want anybody to know that it happened. And a lot of times, people ask me, well, how can I spot my shadow? I want to do this work. I want to take this inner journey. I want to be whole. I want to accept every little part of myself and not be judgmental about myself. How do I do this? So I'm going to offer you 3 ways. One of the ways is to pay attention to your triggers. Pay attention to your triggers. What triggers you? Pay attention to that. Because the triggers are messages that help you realize your shadow wants to be seen. It wants to be seen. I'll tell you an experience I had this past week. So I was triggered by something that Joe said. See, what happened was that, you ever get those Windows updates, that tell you to update? Well, I didn't pay attention, and when I updated it, it went to Windows 11. Oh, I know, Benny, I know, God, I know. And when I opened my laptop to see where's my material, it was nowhere to be found, and it was in different places. Even my everything in the files on my desktop had just been moved around, and I was pretty frustrated. This Windows is the latest operating system, and so I had no time to figure out how to change it back. I don't even think I can, period. But I knew that I had to create a video. I've been asked by Silent Unity if I could create 2 videos for their meditations that they do during the week. And now I'm at the deadline. Now I have no choice. I had to figure out, how do I do this? How do I do this? And Z, who was in the office, and Rhonda, who was in the office, they saw me struggling, trying to figure it out. Well, I left here at 6 o'clock, and I went with my laptop home, and Joe had already eaten, so I went back to work to figure out, I kept saying to myself, I am intelligent. I know how to do this. I will do this. I will do this. And Joe saw me, I guess, kind of struggling and trying to figure it out. And he's pretty savvy with technology. So all he did was say, hey, you want me to help you? Here, let me show you. Oh, boy. That was not good. I was triggered. What do you mean you're going to show me? You think I can't do it? What do you think, I'm not smart enough? What do you think, that I'm a woman? And, no. So it triggered all kinds of stuff in me. A simple, well-intended comment from my wonderful Joe set something off in me. It really did. And feelings of childhood insecurity started to surface. Feeling like, I wasn't, and I thought I had healed that. I thought I had done all my work. So this is an example that you think you're done, but you're not quite yet there, okay? So anyway, I sat there barely containing myself. I didn't say anything to Joe. I just was, how you had that fire coming out of everywhere. I was barely containing myself, but I didn't let on that anything was wrong. Why? Because I was trying to repress shadow that wanted to show up. I didn't want anybody to see it. I didn't want him to see it. I didn't want him to see that I felt insecure. So we worked on the problem. I solved it. And afterwards, I was left wondering, what happened to me? There wasn't anything bad that he said. What happened to me? And because I've been doing this work now for years, I realize that there is still a part of my shadow that needs healing, that still deals with these feelings of having to prove myself over and over again. Even though I know that I'm an accomplished, competent woman. I'm confident in that. And yet those little voices keep rising out, that little shadow, because of something that happened. So that trigger was letting me realize that a part of me still needed to be explored with tenderness, not judging it, not putting retribution on myself like, oh, I went there again. No. All I needed to do was kind of do the shadow work that is the path of the heart warrior. Do it with love, compassion, and kindness. So that's one way you can tell, to spot your shadow. Another way is that to spot your shadow is through meditation. Sometimes when you're sitting there, just paying attention to your breath, just kind of being still, an emotion may surface, and it's strong. And all of a sudden you find yourself, crying, okay? You find yourself crying and remembering and crying and trying to make sense of it. Well, your shadow is showing up. Why is this deep sadness within you? Why? And you now have an opportunity to explore that. And to allow that emotion to move through you, because that's what it is an energy in motion. It wants to move through you. It doesn't want to be stuck in you. If it does get stuck, then you experience all kinds of other physical discomforts. It doesn't want to be there. It just wants to be acknowledged. It wants to be seen. That sadness that you have held for so long. Usually that happens when we grieve. We hold it back, we hold it back, we hold it back, and then all of a sudden it comes out like a floodgate. Allow it. That emotion, that sadness is the gift. Letting you know that you loved well. You did well. And number 3, I would say please avoid shaming your shadow. Some people say that your shadow longs for acceptance. That's all it does. It just wants to say, I see you. I know you're there. And I will do what I can to bring healing so that we can integrate and be one. But really your shadow, we say, well, we want to accept it. Some people say, get your shadow, and then you got to, do this work, and then you got to integrate it into your being. But what I'm becoming to realize, what's dawning on me, is that your shadow is you. Your shadow is you. And like everyone else, you long to feel accepted. So embrace that shadow and have some compassion for yourself. You could do it by practicing loving affirmations. You are worthy of love. You truly are. You're a beautiful being of light. You are created in the image and likeness of God. You are perfect. You're whole. Forgive yourself and love yourself. You are enough. You deserve to experience what freedom that gives the peace of mind is like. When you can extend compassion to yourself, when you could do that in a genuine way, then you are more genuine in extending compassion to others. You have to do it for yourself first. And then it's more genuine. When you can really do it for yourself, then it's more genuine when you extend it to others. Richard Rohr says that he's a Franciscan monk, and he says, practice gratitude, practice gratitude, practice gratitude all the time. Grateful people emerge in a world rightly defined. They see the world differently than ungrateful people, where even the shadows are no surprise to them, but in fact an opportunity to practice compassion and forgiveness. So this weekend, as you go off to your barbecues and you celebrate the Day of Independence. Remember that the ideals, these vision that our forefathers had, upon which our nation was founded, is worth striving for. Not with weapons, not by taking sides, not by blaming or shaming or alienating anyone or any group, but by going within and making the journey of transformation that will heal you and restore you, return you to wholeness, and in that practice, help the collective return to wholeness as well. So don't be overly disturbed by the things that you see. That is my advice to you. Don't be overly disturbed. Don't be overly disturbed. We need conflict. We just need it, believe it or not. And we need relationship difficulties, moral failures and defeats of our grandiosity, or we will not have a way to spot the shadow. It will not trigger us so that we can spot it. So we need those things, but we have to see it rightly. When it shows up, to say, this is an opportunity for me. Shadow work is the practice of loving what is, and setting the shame and the judgment free so that you can be your true self. You can be the light that you have come here to be. I found this beautiful quote that I want to end with from someone who has a blog. Her name is Sherry Lane. She said, "There is a vast spiritual awakening in progress in the world. Quietly and soulfully, many are returning to the truth of who they are, seeing the futility of the world's ego ways. If you surrender to this call from within, it may lead to a deep questioning of the way we do things. There will surely be moments of loneliness where you will feel that you no longer belong as the world tries to pull you back into its old worn paradigms, its old ways. But if you stay in peace, stay centered, practice presence, and follow the call of your soul, you will begin to see a deeper way, the remembrance of our perfection, your own and that of others. You will see each other as they truly are, just like you, a spiritual being having a human experience. And you can extend compassion and kindness when we are in our humanity. The truth is that the only freedom there really is, that's the real freedom, the remembering, the coming back to yourself and seeing each other as one. The truth is that's the only real freedom, and its power is beyond anything that this world can offer. It is your power. It can move mountains. It can heal you, and it can heal the world. Remember that as you go about your days, to extend loving kindness to yourself and compassion to others, and be willing to see those areas that still need healing in your life. I love you and I bless you, and we do this work together, supporting one another. Namaste.
Before we move into offertory blessings here, our board president, Darlene Morris, has a few announcements that she'd like to make. So, Darlene, welcome.
Good morning. It helps to put the glasses on. I saw many of you in our class this morning, the Simple Truth. It was wonderful. If you missed this one and would like to join us, it's once a month, and you only have one chapter to catch up on. So what you need to know as a community is we've had some changes in the board that you need to be aware of. Late last spring, Jan Larson had to go up north for some medical reasons. And because she was not sure how long she would be out of commission, she resigned her board position. So we have replaced Jan. So John, according to our rules, John Odell has stepped into Jan's position, and Patrick Flynn, give him a great big hand, has stepped into the alternate. And he's also taking our minutes for us. So thank you so much for that, Patrick. And I guess they're back in the kitchen getting ready for us. Yes. As always, they are like, there's a pool to take up for us to be adopted by Patrick and Brad, because their breakfast casserole was just to die for, really. Okay, so that takes care of the business. The other thing was, for those of you who joined us last week at our Jubilee, Pat Maynard did something amazing, and I want to call her out for that. She made a challenge, or actually it's an opportunity. She made a challenge and a contribution, and some at the meeting joined. So I was so touched, I went home, wrote out my check, and then in the memo section I put Pat's challenge, and I scratched it out and put opportunity. So you have the opportunity to rise to Pat's challenge in any amount that suits you, to join in the circle of prosperity. As you give, you receive. I believe sincerely in that. Prosperity in this church has risen because of you, and prosperity is yours for the having. So if you do make a contribution, put Pat's opportunity on the bottom, and we'll keep track of that so we can track its success. And I'll report that back to you when it's appropriate. Okay, thank you.
Oh, goodness. So now it's come to that time of our service where we want to share our gratitude and give thanks for our wonderful spiritual home. Gratitude for, all the abundance we receive here at our spiritual home, through our love, donations, offerings, tithes, what have you. It allows us to continue our work, our community outreach, our classes, all the opportunities that we have here. So if you would, and of course I didn't bring mine up with me, take your envelope and put it close to your heart as we do our offertory blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send forth this gift with my blessings and my love. And just a short prayer. Divine Spirit, we thank you for this offering. We know it is given in love and received in love, and that it moves through this ministry with the energy of divine love out into the world as good. Each giver is blessed, for this is the law. And so it is. Thank you, God. And now our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. This love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. And the presence of God watches over us. I am present. Wherever we are, God is, and all is divine. Thank you very much. And I think, Reverend Luce, you have some announcements? Okay, good.
A few. Okay, so Darlene mentioned the Simple Truth class, so come to that. That would be great. Next week, on Sunday, I won't be here. We'll have Reverend Deetra Randolph to bring the message. And I've been talking to him on the phone earlier last month, and he's going to be a real blessing to you. And I'm going to not be here because my dad hasn't been feeling well. And I had this urgency to go see him, so this is a perfect opportunity for me to do that. So I'm going to see that, and I'm asking you to keep my dad in prayer, okay? There is a card shower today that we want to show Lori Clark that we're thinking about her and loving her. And so we haven't seen her in a while, so it'll pick up her spirits. So those of you that know Lori Clark, make sure you do a card shower for her, and I'll announce it again, have it announced next week so that you can do. And then there's another card shower, and that's for Richard Parker. I spoke to him recently, and he has not been, he's dealing with some medical issues right now. And it's always so nice to receive a card, just to kind of, he said it was okay for me to announce it, so I'm announcing it. So go ahead and send cards to those two people. And that is all my announcements for now, except I want to make sure you remember the High Watch is here today. Oh, my school supplies, how can I forget that? That's my little pet project every year. So this community always does a little outreach to the children in our community, and we give out school bags full of supplies. And so this year we're going to ask you to help us participate because we want to give out more. And so if you can, you're going to get a little piece of paper that tells you what are we needing. And if you could bring more, please bring them. You know, we need to supplement it. So last year we gave out 110, and we're aiming for how much? 125 this year. So we need your help to do that. So we did a lot. You know, sometimes we have to turn them away. You know, they don't, because we don't have any more. But this is a generous community. And so if you're visiting or you're here and you want someone to pray with you today for whatever reason, our High Watch is here, our prayer chaplains are here. You'll always know them. They wear the purple stalls, and they're here to pray with you. So now I invite you to stand with me and let us sing the peace song. And I'll be happy to greet you in the lobby to say hello and wish you a very happy 4th of July Independence Day. Okay.
touch me